While we learn about the opposition on the pitch, Wiser learns how to heat my home.
Rob, it's been a few weeks since we played a game of rugby, but it's the final game of the rugby season. Your thoughts ahead of it all?
I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it for all kinds of reasons. I think we've had a bit of a good review process with the players. I think we're starting to reset. I'm not going to sit here and go everything's fantastic now. That means we're absolutely brilliant. We're just going to go out there and fly through the game and destroy Harlequins and everything's going to be brilliant. Because the reality is that will be a bit of a battle for us, and it will be, because we're not on the form we need to be, and Harlequins are on great form. They've got something to really fight for. Yet their season is coming alive now as ours is finishing, so that's a challenge in itself. But I am feeling good about next season. I'm feeling good about next season because we've gone down a track that's far enough down already in place for next season that feels really exciting. I think the one thing we're really going to focus on is enjoying next season as a coaching group, as a playing group, because I think that's always brought the best out of us in the future. You know, when we've been a real work hard, play hard side and enjoy each other's company, it's brought the best out of us, and we're just going to have a real focus as a playing group, as a management group on making sure this is a great rugby club. You know, if it's a great rugby club, we achieve really good things, and that's going to be my focus. You know, we just want to turn up. We want to be proud of how we work. We want to be proud of whatever product we put on the field, and we want to be able to enjoy it with the supporters and enjoy it with each other. And we're really talking about the real fundamentals and basics of what we want this rugby club to look like from the playing and management perspective. And I think that's the thing more than anything else that will hold us in really good stead going forward.
The first time in 7 years you won't be in that last four, but equally, I know you look to the positives, and there are lots to take from this season. The emergence of some of the younger players, other what I call middle of the road squad members have stepped up now, and they are now establishing themselves as first team players. They are key foundations for moving forward.
100%. I mean, we've talked a lot in the last few weeks about we've got to kind of leave behind those successful years, because they're not relevant for a lot of people, and they're not. And yet, at the same time, I've also said to guys, but we do need to kind of use some of the looking back as markers. So exactly what you've just said, if I took us back now, which I'm going to talk about a bit of this in the club dinner tonight, if you take us back to the last season before we got in the semi-final, and you looked at pictures of Jack Noel, Henry Slade, Luke Cowan-Dickey, these young guys coming through, they look like young kids. They really do. And yet, they were getting their initial games, their initial experience in the Premiership in around that time before we kind of started to emerge through those 2 or 3 years before we first became a top two side. That was when they were gaining their experience. This season has been a lot about some of those guys now, and yet we've wanted and desperately tried to cling on to top four or top two or semi-finals. But there is a reality that actually, as these guys come through, as a Sam Warner comes through, as a Josh Hodge, as a Pat Schickling, as a Daffy Jenkins, a Richard Capstick, Tom Hendricks is playing more. These guys, as they start to be there, and we can name loads more who've played. Unfortunately, some of them got injured, like a Rusi Tamuru, probably should have played loads, but got injured, and Sean Lonsdale got injured, and there've been another whole crew of young players who would have all been gaining their time here. That was happening then, and that part of bedding in process has to happen. So for a load of those guys, do you think Sam Warner's going to walk away and go, "This has been an awful season"? He's broken into the first team. He's played Heineken Cup rugby. He's not walking away. Right, he'll be disappointed. Will Pat Schickling say that? Will Daffy Jenkins? They played Richard Capstick. I think he's started 13 or 14 games this season. Is he going to walk away and go, "That's my worst season ever"? There's something different here, and I think that's the bit that's really positive. Obviously, the negative bit is that there have been games there where we could have played better. There have been results that potentially we should have made go our way that would have kept the season a little bit more exciting for us, but we haven't. And so we can look at excuses, we can look at all kinds of things. I mean, the one thing I'm very prepared to put my hand up and look at now and think probably the start of the season, I probably got a little bit wrong, because I think we could have approached it in a bit more of an exciting fashion, in that, right, there is a lot of changes here. This is a different group. We probably have to reset our goals a little bit about what we want to achieve here, but let's really look at A, B, C rather than what happens. But actually, at the same time, I was aware that a struggle for points, with the amount of international clashes, the amount of time away, the amount of international players, the amount of injuries, and I think we got in a cycle like that, and I don't mind doing it. It could well have been me that started it, because once we got on our cycle of starting to desperately need points, we never quite recovered, and we never really then at any stage have got the influx of players back that we were probably hoping for, just through misfortune really. And so we probably could have, I'll be the first one to hold my hand up, I think we could have had a better season than we've had. We've had a lot of challenges, we still could have had a bit better season than we've had, but it's happened now. And so we've got to make sure that we don't use hindsight to kind of kill ourselves, we use hindsight to get better, and I certainly think we're going through that process really well now.
What are you expecting from Harlequins this weekend? It's been a weird end to the season for a lot of teams.
I can only expect them to come absolutely flying and flat out. I mean, they've got everything to play for as regards getting on form. They've got a squad of players who've got everything to play for regards getting a place to play in the semi-final, and they haven't played a lot of rugby recently, so I think any ideas of trying to break and rest up pre-semi-final are just not going to happen, you know. So we're going to have to brace ourselves for what's coming. I think again it's a great opportunity for some players. I think that's the thing that really excites me. I'm actually going to sit and watch the game and see which players really are going to, you know, walk the walk, because, you know, when you have reviews there's a lot of talk, and we got to find a group of players who want to kind of walk the walk. And as I said, you know, the key for me is some of the basic focuses we put into place already. We're talking about next season, and the number one is, as a playing group and as a management group, we want to enjoy it. Obviously, winning and playing well is a huge part of enjoyment, but we also want to enjoy some good time together. But we want to make sure that we're a key element in making this a great rugby club. You know, if there's a group of players in the management group, we can get people feeling this is a great rugby club, we're doing a great job, and that's what we want to do, and that's what we're going to focus on it. And we're going to spend plenty of time together socially, just to reaffirm a few bonds, and we're going to spend a lot of quality time working hard on the training field, and those things aligned together will give us our best opportunity. That's all I can do at this stage, is just go, next season we're going to give ourselves the absolute best opportunity to be a great rugby club, and if we do that, then most people will be pretty satisfied with that.
Final question of the season. The fans will be asking, any new arrivals coaching wise in terms of that, or in player wise? How are you looking?
Yeah, we've got. We can put out a complete player group. There might be the opportunity to bring in one more player, I think, and I'm still looking at a potential player who can come in on like an injury dispensation situation, because Ollie Devoto's recent hip operation will take a little bit of rehab. So he won't be available still at the start of next season. So we've got an opportunity to bring a player in around that. But on the whole, we're pretty settled. We will be bringing in a new defence coach, and we'll be able to announce that shortly. So you know, I think everything looks pretty well set for next season. I think people will be surprised how open and honest everyone is here is downstairs. I think there always seems to be this kind of feeling that there's a lot of smoke and mirrors and stuff going on. There isn't really. We talk pretty openly, we talk pretty honestly. There's been some good things said downstairs, there's been some harsh words, there's been, you know, I'll stand you, I think there's some players who've done extremely well this year, and there's some players who haven't, you know, when we've had those open conversations. And our job is to help the players who haven't played so well play better, and it's to really encourage the guys who've had good seasons to keep improving. And if we can align all that, then we've got our opportunity to have a really good season next season. But I think it's really important that what I really want, I want the supporters to watch us and just feel very satisfied with what they're seeing, win or lose. You know, I think that's more important than anything else, is that win or lose, people watch us and people take part in what we do, and they're happy with it. They feel comfortable with it. They feel proud of it. And as long as we do that, that's always been like the key foundation for us. If we've worked really hard during the week, we've done everything we can to win the game, we can never ask anything else.